this plays out here. Let's get it going.
Absolutely. We're now going into the first game onto Apocalypse, one map that we've been seeing a lot tonight. We have Himwe on that Terrace that we've been seeing a lot of them playing, involving that hammer, involving that axe. But that hammer's been a very big gameplay strat for Himwe in his winner side matches. And we've been having Keith on that Azoka a lot, playing those guitars and using that aggressiveness. But now we have this aggressiveness playstyle going against this semi-passive but almost like counterintuitive style playstyle from Himwe.
Okay, there we go. Yep, doing some pretty solid stuff here.
There we go.
Yeah, see, that's it. That's the thing I keep seeing. We keep seeing that 1-2, and then he tries to extend it another one. Almost like he's mashing or something. I don't know.
He tries to extend on it, and Himwe's reading that option very well. Like the side light and the down light is it's a true combo. But Himwe saying, I'm gonna try to approach you off that ledge. I'm gonna counter, or I'm gonna try to aggress that style of what Keith was doing, which is trying to bring Himwe off that ledge.
Yeah, I mean, listen, falling hammers is one of the reasons why they make you wear a hard hat in construction zones. So that's all I'm saying here. Like, you gotta watch your head here.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to definitely need a helmet here as this keeps on happening. I mean, but right now, Keith coming with a downlight recovery on the Himwe. Himwe now with that axe as well, and, you know, he's doing pretty well with it, but Keith's aggressive playstyle is countering Himwe very well, and now Himwe's down into that second stock.
Okay, there we go. Yep, that hammer coming right back out. Stop in the wrong direction. Unless he was just trying to get that turnaround, see if he was going to extend a little bit more, but...
Dude, that sword combo was just clean from Keith, too. That was a 5-piece combo, launching Himwe in the orange. It didn't do a lot, but I also got to bring this up, too. Himwe's trying to dash or dodge dance against Keith, and Keith has been doing that a lot as well. I think Keith's playstyle, especially with guitars, is going to counter Himwe's dodge dancing, I have a feeling, because we're seeing it happen now. And you're looking at him dodging, like the dash into neutral light lands. But now we have Keith with the sword now, gets the dare option. Himwe has to recover to get back, but gets dare to go ahead and get countered. That was pretty much one of his only options to come back.
Yep. Go, no weapon right now. Of course, the hammer comes out here. Gets that 1, 2, 3, sends him off stage. Now he's looking for a way to try and close out this stock, and should be able to if he can find a stop there. There it is. Closes that one out. And now just a little bit of damage separating these two. He's going to be bringing that axe back out to try and get a little bit of offense going here.
Yes, it's definitely a very well matched up opponents here when it comes down to it being great finals too. I mean, we're seeing Himwe now in the orange. Now Himwe launches Keith into the orange. A lot of back and forth here. It's going to come down to those combos that each player lands. Himwe's 3-piece lands. But now Keith's got to be careful. He knows he's got a little bit of pressure on him. Swaps guitars, tries to do signatures, but if he can keep away from Himwe's drum sider option, it might be a good opportunity. And Keith's side signature lands, and he takes game number 1 with those guitars against Himwe's hammer.
It's almost like he's figured out exactly when to be throwing the side sigs out, because I feel like he's been throwing it out so many times today, and it's been punished so often. And maybe it's just because of like just the matchup against LaPlume. Like Plume was just ready for it, and like he's just able to get these counter hits. But man, it just felt like he's just throwing these things out. But finally, we see one land here. And I think it was like only the one time he's thrown it out too. So maybe he's dialing it back a little bit. Maybe he's just not feeling as desperate. I mean, these two are super familiar with each other anyway, so.
Yeah, and I think now we're going to see Himwe being able to counter that a lot more because he now has been hit by it. So if you're Keith, you don't want to throw that out as much. But I think he's leaving a couple different attacks, like different options against Himwe to the back burner until a possible reset. You know, they're just doing the same thing over and over until it doesn't work anymore. And now Himwe is kind of going in with his axe 2-piece. But Keith, I mean, these dare downlights have been doing a lot of damage against Himwe so far.
There we go. Yeah, just keep tossing him out. A solid punish move, almost able to take that stock there with the recovery, just not gonna be able to find it quite yet, but just drops it. What are you doing?
And it wasn't intentional though. It was based off of how he was moving. Like the way he jumped into a GC downlight, the momentum just wasn't with him, but he still does go and get that knockout though. which is good. But if you're Himwe, you're gonna be like, okay, what's happening? I'm getting aggressed pretty hard right now.
Yeah, very, very much so. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's 2 weapon tosses. Yeah, and you can definitely tell Himwe's just trying to battle his way through here right now, but I think it's just, you know, maybe it's just a little bit of that warm up going on, right? He kind of, I assume he's been playing, right? But probably waiting to see, watching the set, seeing what's going on. But Keith has just been like battling nonstop for the past hour or so. And as you can see, taking out that second stock there. Ugh.
Dude, he bounced him off the bottom of the map twice, not just once, but twice. So you know Keith's feeling it right now. I think Himwe's just trying to adjust a little bit of these next couple of games because I think he knows he has a reset. You know, I think he knows he has the opportunity if he needs it. But now we're seeing, Keith used some other signatures, including the neutral signature. And Himwe with the backward sider into weapon throw lands on Keith, but Keith's entire stock advantage right now.
Right. Oh, there we go. Some decent play right now. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Unarmed. Yeah. A nice little like 3-piece combo there. And now he's got that sword in hand. He's got that extra reach.
Nice sider coming in as well, and a lot of players don't know unarmed as well as Keith just landed that combo, so that's definitely gonna set him into a premise of a certain momentum, and Keith's been riding it so far. Himwe's been trying to counter that momentum a bit, but that crowd pound finally lands, and Himwe is out of the final stock. Keith is up 2 games over Himwe in grand finals so far.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, we're probably gonna see a reset here, and as you can see, look at that. Himwe recognizing the situation, probably not wanting to go to a reset at all, and pulling out the fate immediately.
Yeah, that might be an issue for Keith because that's a totally different play style. You know, you got the aggressiveness of Keith. You got Himwe now playing Scythe and Orb. That Orb Silent side air is true. You got Scythe you got to worry about. But at least Keith knows Scythe, and we saw that from earlier Skip when they played Loki. You know, so I don't know. We're on Demon Island though. That bottom of that floor of the map is very low. Let's see what happens.
Yep. And that's the other side of it too, is Fate is also another one of those characters that just has some really good sigs that you can just kind of throw out quite often. So
yeah, and those signatures are very powerful too with Fate. And I think if Himwe could challenge the aggressiveness of Keith, that's like what Plume was at one point, right? That's a huge opportunity for them. But so far, Keith's being pretty decent with that sword, not even swapping to Katars yet. Might have to against this Orb, we'll have to see. But the neutral light comes in. Keith's sword's also really good. I thought the Katars was going to be the main thing they would be pulling out, but that sword is actually doing very well.
Yeah, no, definitely doing a really solid job here. And look at that, it's kind of like threading the needle through some of these attacks from Himwe right now.
Nice side.
Yeah,
there we go.
Well played.
Yeah, these guys are even when it comes down to the event too. And also for those of you that don't know, I mean, if Keith wins this game, it lets them go into the reset since Keith is on the elimination side and Himwe's on the winner side. Himwe went ahead and beat whoever it was on the winner side there, so he has that advantage. So if Keith does go and win, we're going into the reset and they're both going to be on the elimination side now. So Himwe is definitely relying on that a little bit. I think he was just trying to tear us out and see if it would work against Keith. Tried 2 games of it and seeing if he had to go back to old reliable, but so far, I mean, both these players are even.
Yeah, no, it's looking a little bit scary here for Himwe though, because like you might have just given Keith way too much like momentum to just kind of, you know, keep that going those first 2 games.
Oh yeah, silent side air. Yep, that's the combo that I was talking about though. He's got to be careful of that. Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, now you just need to sneeze on Himwe and you can get that stock out of here, so. You just gotta sneeze.
That's you. There we go.
All right, there we go. Thank goodness.
I sneezed for him. He got it out. All right, there we go. So going to what to do. And I mean, now we got Keith on Katars. Now this is going to be the opportunity he can have against Himwe's Orb. I do gotta say though, Himwe's Orb might do a little bit against Keith if he can land his attacks here.
I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of getting there. Like, it literally the first stock, like they're even right now, still, but like they've been even this entire game so far. It's definitely like a bit of a weirder pace. Like the Taros obviously can command so much aggression and you kind of have to get in on them. But with the Fate, you can kind of dial it back here a little bit. You've got that extra range between, you know, the sight and the orb, and you can just play a bit more patient.
Yeah, and right now we're kind of seeing, I mean, Himwe's kind of having a rough time getting his attacks in order there and landing on the Keith. You know, and that's why he's moving around so much. He knows these different attack options are not going to land in his opinion, so he's moving around, trying to adjust. And there's Himwe adjusting, comes in with that orb ground pound, knocking Keith down to that final stock, and Himwe now has that adjustment that he needs to go ahead and win this game.
Ooh.
But does Keith? Oh, that would have landed if it wasn't a dodge. Nice sider.
Yeah, but just keeping up that aggression still, even missing, just chasing him back from one side of the stage to the other. Ooh! What's the play here? All right, nothing super crazy right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. All right, we got Keith, what was originally pushing a lot of pressure on Himwe off the ledge. The sider comes in, and Keith has that advantage. And I think that's what Keith needs to start doing. If he can get the damage build up and then push Himwe to the ledges of the map where he's forced into the air to come back, Keith does very, very well in punishing that. But when Himwe has that center control and has that damage build up or knockout opportunity with that orb or with that sight, I mean, you're going to see him really use it. And now we're seeing Himwe spam a lot of dare options, trying to counter it. Look at him, he's spamming 3 or 4 of them already now. Just trying to find some sort of option because it's a comfortable pick for him. You know, he doesn't have to worry about Keith being too aggressive against that dare option. He can kind of dash back and approach him. And Keith now with these guitars trying to push in a little bit more, but Himwe is respecting Keith a lot to the point where Himwe's been able to counter.
Oh, there we go. Finally just gets onto the stage and gets a hit or two. What felt like just an absolute drought for Keith as he's looking for a way to close out this set. Oh, that's not going to be it, as Himwe just a little too aggressive from Keith, and Himwe just, you know, said, hey, look, I'll take that and I'll get this W. Thank you very much.
I think if Himwe or if Keith went for that sider option and just left him off edge and had that edge control, he's very good at that. You know, but the problem is he let Himwe get back to that platform and land that sidelight side air, and he had no more options to get back to that ledge outside of jumping. You know, so if you're Himwe, you're comfortable, you're like, hey, I got that. But if you're Keith, you're like, uh-oh, I need to do something quick if I want to go and reset.
Yep. All right, well, let's see how this this next game works out here. Going to Apocalypse, and Himwe just needs to keep being aggressive here. Like, well, not aggressive, just keep playing the same way that you've been playing, really, which is like, it's just passive. Like, you can tell, like, he's kind of like fading back on a lot of these hits. You just kind of waiting to see if Keith gets a little too aggressive or overshoots it all and just gets a nice little punish out of it.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, we're seeing Keith try to approach with his sword, which is going back and forth a little bit. You know, it's not giving him an incredible amount of lead. It's just kind of more of exchanges. But you know Keith's gonna go back to those guitars, go do a lot of damage build up with those. But Himwe's dash dancing is actually working against Keith right now a tad bit. You know, I think Himwe's doing it to kind of make Keith miss an attack, and he can punish the recovery frames a little bit. He's not actually punishing anything right now. He's just dash dancing.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Get some decent damage in there. Nothing too crazy. And I think that's what Keith kind of recognizes here, is that Keith is definitely prone to overextending on these combos a little bit.
Yeah, I do see that too. That definitely brings up a good point, because now Himwe's been punishing them, but now Himwe got a little bit aggressive, and Keith comes in with a double sider option. That weapon throw comes in, but actually gave Keith or Himwe another option to come back to that ledge, and that down sig lands by him with a neutral air lands. He's still alive though, is able to touch.
Just was not able to get that hit before getting that wall touch in there. Now back on this stage with a second lease on this stock. And now, okay, I was to say, this is the only one that has a weapon in hand, but this sword, definitely been doing some pretty decent work here.
Cool. Yeah, Apocalypse being Apocalypse there, he's unable to land that neutral air knockout on Himwe, and I think Himwe is very comfortable with that because he can get the sidelight sider option. Now having that platform control, a dare misses twice, 3 times into a downlight sider by Keith, and it just came down to Himwe keep on throwing it out to a point where Keith just approached properly and was able to punish it.
Yep, but now we got that sight back out here too. There we go. Not gonna be able to close that one out. Goes to the weapon toss. Now weaponless there. Ah, there's that spawn. Okay, gets that orb right back in hand as well. He's looking for it.
He is. And Himwe trying to go for these dare options a lot, but that side air option does go ahead and land and make things 2 stocks all. But Himwe's actually going to go to the orb now instead. I think he feels more comfortable with the orb. It landed once, but Keith is, you know, on that sword for now. I think once Keith is on guitars, Himwe's going to go over to the side.
Oh, there we go.
That was close. Oh, he almost missed that ledge too. I mean, the orb gameplay from Himwe is coming out very, very strong right now. You're seeing Keith try to land these nuclear options to try to get some sort of control, but Himwe is just reading the falling of Keith, and the side air leads into the side air as well. Keith does go and touch back, but that side air has been coming in clutch for Himwe. And that dare comes in. Keith is out of that with that dare option as well. Oh, he saved him! He saved his food just to side air him! Are you kidding me, Himwe?
Okay. I mean, there's a part that I think he was gonna touch the side of the wall anyway, so I don't know if he was actually trying to save him, just trying to like kind of mix it up there a little bit. But now, yeah, we're in a really dangerous position here for Keith. Himwe's entire just string just kind of keeping Keith on that back foot for like what seemed like 2 minutes or something like that. It was a long time. Definitely super clutch.
Yeah, but now if you're Keith, man, you gotta do something. You know, this orb is messing you up a little bit. That sword downlight into recovery lands. Recovery lands again with that sword. That side signature is gonna miss. He maybe can go off ledge with that side sig too. That's an option, but downlight recovery lands. Recovery. Easy downlight into recovery lands again. He's been landing that a lot, and Himwe's not been doing well against that.
Yeah, I mean, he just did it like 4 times in a row.
Yeah, and I think Himwe's gonna go back to that scythe and be like, hey, and Keith's like, you know what, my guitar's been doing well. I'm sure they're gonna do well against the scythe. Himwe's like, uh-oh, I'm not playing guitars against scythe. That's not gonna work out. And now Himwe's back on that orb, but oof, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, right now, I mean, this orb, we saw how much work it did, you know, just doing a really good job of keeping Keith out and just racking up damage slowly. And now, in a last stock scenario here, Himwe needs to get this game or we go to that reset immediately. Now that scythe coming out into play keeps him off the stage. Trying to find a way to get that last hit, but Keith just barely battling through.
Yeah, that was honestly a very smart move from Keith with that recovery option, the way he landed that. That was very low to the point where he could allow him to get back. He almost got knocked out right off that ledge. And now with Himwe not being able to knock him out there, he is able to go and land that sidelight side air to make us go into a game number 5 between Himwe and Keith. And you know Keith's got to figure out something here. I mean, he has to. The Azuri originally was working, but then Himwe went to the fake. What can he really pull out here? He's probably going to pull out the same character, but what play style can he pull out here, Skiff?
I kind of think you just kind of keep doing what you're doing. You just got to figure out how to get around this orb. Because I don't think he's playing bad or wrong. Because obviously he's not. He's sitting in grand finals here. But it's really just dealing with this orb. I think that Himwe's just been playing that strong and consistent. It's a good like defensive play style, right? It just kind of, you know, it's really just coming down, I think, to Keith just kind of running into some of these things and just not being more patient.
Yeah, and I think that's what we saw in the previous games as well, which is why I'm glad you brought that up too. Was he was being really aggressive and he was whipping, and that's what Plume was punishing him on, right? So now if you're Keith, you got to make sure your attacks land fully as much as you possibly can, and make sure that accuracy rate's very high against Himwe, while also, you know, going in within the ranges of those attacks. You know, like for example, Dare has a hitbox, but there's a space in between the character and the Dare option sometimes too that he can fill in. And he's been doing it a couple times, but now Himwe is saying, you know what, there is, but I'm gonna land a triple Dare knockout on you, and I'm gonna take the mental advantage and not Keith into that second stock here.
Yeah, and it just comes down to this orb. The orb gameplay has just been so solid and strong from Himwe this entire set so far, and Keith just does not have a real answer for it.
No, he doesn't, but he does have an opportunity of knocking out Himwe right here. and having Himwe forced on a scythe because he picked up orb twice. This is the second orb Himwe picked up, so it means the next one's going to be the scythe. So if Keith can knock out Himwe here, you know, and make sure he doesn't grab that weapon and give himself another one next game, well, he might have the advantage here, and he's going to weapon storm him too, so that's going to be huge for him.
Yep, definitely a really big advantage here for Keith. It's definitely the type of opening you need, and you know, you can definitely get a little bit of that momentum going for you here, especially when, you know, you're on the cusp of not just, you know, losing grands, but getting reverse 3-0'd in the process. And now we see the scythe come out here, gonna toss that scythe away, and just have to go unarmed for a little bit, and the orb right back into the hands, and this is exactly what Himwe wants.
Yeah, Keith didn't really punish on Himwe on the scythe, and now you have Keith having to battle the orb of Himwe. And Himwe's movement is, oh, he's dodging quite quick though. He's moving really, really fast, and that might be an advantage for Keith. There we go, because that's what Keith was doing against Himwe, but now Himwe's doing it against Keith, and Keith realizes that. He's been punishing him very well, gets the neutral light into downlight recovery. He's also dodging very quickly too. Okay, yeah, Keith, look at him. He's like, I just want a weapon. I want to pick up my scythe.
And there we go. Yep, doing a pretty solid job. Oh, okay, definitely was looking for a way to try and close that one out there. Not going to be able to get that hit that they need. And now Keith having a lead here.
He does, but Himwe picks up orb next weapon spawn, right? So that's still a big deal. If Keith can do a lot of damage. Oh, never mind. I was gonna. That was a jinx. Himwe
comes down to this though, AJ. Right now, Keith just needs one stock here to try and, you know, push us into the reset, and Himwe just needs the stock to just win the tournament. And he does have orb in hand, and we've seen what he's been doing with this orb all day today.
Yeah, that neutral control leading into that 2-piece as well.
Oh!
That almost knocked him out just off that ledge. Keith needs to figure out some type of mental advantage or some type of advantage over Himwe here if he wants to win game number 5 and go into a reset. It is down to the wire. This neutral light comes in. Lots of back and forth so far. Oh,
that's huge.
That's huge. The Starlight Sider comes in and lands again. Keith is still alive, but will it be it? Himwe misses a dare. Keith going off ledge for some reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Himwe's definitely playing a little too aggressive right now. Go back to what you were doing, the tried and true stuff. Don't push it more than you need to.
Yeah, and you. Oh, Himwe lands the recovery to go in and knock down Keith. And Himwe is your Skadi Trial Champion. Oh my gosh, off that recovery to that dare, leading into the dare option. Look at that. Bam, he got the dodge read, and Keith couldn't come back.
That was super slick, man. This orb gameplay from Himwe was just, oh, chef's kiss. Beautiful stuff all day today.
Yeah, and props to both players too. I mean, they're PR1 and PR2 for a reason. And it all came down to Himwe's advantage with that orb, and Himwe knew that. And